JB, I'm a little afraid to talk to our next guest because, I kind of moonlight on D3Football.com from time to time, and
Yeah.
his team seemed to be the punching bag all season long in terms of the upset special that we normally pick on our quick hits on Friday. I'm guilty of it. I picked them once in that position. I think Pat Coleman twice, and I want to say Ryan Tips was the fourth upset special. Guess what? We were all wrong. RPI
That's
is
right.
still undefeated, and as you can see in the bottom of the screen over here, talking with us means he's doing something right. That's what he always tells us, so we're playing off that a little bit. He is doing something right with his team in his sixth season as head coach at RPI. Let's bring him in. It's about time we bring him in this season. Ralph Isernia, congratulations on the Liberty League title, and congratulations on just a great season overall, sir.
No, thanks. I appreciate it. Our guys, they were taking a lot of what you were talking about and what Pat was talking about. Took that stuff to heart. It was a lot of a lot of the naysayers and people who had doubted us all year long. That was some fuel for the fire. That was part of it. But our guys just they really were playing a grind style of football, and they we've got some really good guys and really good senior leadership as well. So it's anything that you can use as far as a coach is concerned, we're going to try to use that for motivation.
Now, be honest. Are we hanging up anywhere in your office some of those predictions still? I mean, is it a season-long thing, or is it a week-to-week thing that you kind of look at these things?
No, we've got you right back here on our board. So that's something that I can look at every single day. We've got it down in our locker room, so our guys see all of the haters out there that are gonna pick against us or doubt us. National rankings starting at the beginning of this season and all of that stuff. So it's all good motivation. But at the end of the day, you need to go out and play and you need to execute, and that's exactly what our guys did.
Certainly have. It's your third championship in the last four seasons, Coach. Basically, Troy has become the new Liberty League title town here. Last year you guys clinched the bid, but this is now your fifth or sixth consecutive postseason appearance, because you did play in a bunch of ECAC bowls over the years. But now back-to-back playoff runs. You guys know what you're getting yourselves into. Obviously, having played Wesley in the playoffs last year. But I guess at the end of the day, you still have one more game to go, and it's against an old rival who's going to look to try to knock you off your perch. But before we talk about Union, Coach, talk us through a little bit about this St. Lawrence game, because I think a lot of us weren't expecting them to really give you guys a hard time, and then all of a sudden this freshman quarterback kind of comes out of nowhere and really has a good day passing the ball on you guys when you have one of the best pass defenses in the country. Was this Groshot character just one of these things you don't have a lot of film on him? What happened in that game? I mean, obviously you got the win, which is the most important element, but kind of walk us through the ups and downs of that one.
Yeah, we thought that they were going to come in throwing the football. That's what they've done all year long. Coming into our game, they were nearing their single-season passing records, completions, touchdowns. Their receiver, Ferraro, was right on the verge of setting the school record for receptions and yards, beating his older brother's record. So we knew that that's what they were going to do. They were going to come in and throw the football. So they had a good scheme, and they had some plays where they were dinking and dunking, and then they took some shots. But overall, we knew exactly that's what they were going to do is come in. So we tried to mix up coverages, disguise those things a little bit, maybe dial up a little bit of pressure to get home. We did a few times. We're able to get him knocked down. But that's a tough kid there. I mean, he got right back up and kept slinging the football. So, we needed to get some stops, and we did, and especially the ones at the end. The offense did a great job of going down and making some big plays of their own, and scoring and making it tough for them to go the long field. But my hat's off to them, because I mean that's exactly what we thought was going to happen. And in my 6 years of being here, that's always a game that you're never really. I mean, you know that they're always going to bring their best. Sometimes there's some matchups that you hope that they don't figure out, but it's the St. Lawrence RPI game every single year is one that we know is always going to come right down to the wire.
So, Coach, you and Brockport kind of had the same situation last week and this week coming up. You both had a tussle to win your league, although they were in a do or die. You had a little bit of margin for error technically in that situation, but still, it's good to get it out of the way. Close or not, the win is a win. Now, this week, you have a game against a very upstart opponent, Union in your case, Morrisville State in Brockport's case, but you have a playoff game guaranteed the following week. How do you approach the game when it comes to, you don't want to get hurt, you don't want to necessarily, this actually happened to Union, I want to say, in 2006, I believe it was. They had sealed the Liberty League the week before the Dutchman Shoes game came out. We always joke around that on the old 86 field, they basically watered down the turf and made it tough for Tom Arcidiacono. This is a legend of years gone by, 12 years ago. But you get the point. They lost the game and didn't win the shoes, even though they won the Pool A bid. So how do you approach this game now to minimize any damage that could be done to your team heading into the playoffs, but at the same time make sure you seal the deal, get this 9-0 record, and get the shoes?
Well, we started off our league season with Ithaca, and then went right into Hobart. And then we had Rochester and St. Lawrence. So last couple of weeks we've been talking about some pretty good opponents that if they play their best, they're going to be they're going to give us everything that we can handle. And also that if we're just going to go in there and think that we can just show up and we're going to get the win, we have been sadly mistaken. So whether you call it a trap game or whatever, that's what's been going through our guys' minds the last couple of weeks. So to get that out of the way, to wrap up the bid now, that gives us all the motivation to come out for the shoes game. And it's a rivalry game. It's the big one. It's the one that we circle on the calendar every single year. And I always kid that if we have with our alums, if our alums have a chance to come back for one game, whether it's a homecoming game or the shoes game at home, and they can only come to one, they're going to come back for the shoes game. And I've gotten emails, text messages, phone calls. Hey, Coach, we're coming, and we're going to be staying with these guys. And so we've got a ton of guys that are coming back for this game. We didn't have a homecoming game this year. We just because of the scheduling and with the three teams that left our conference a couple of years ago, we had that void in week 5, which was our homecoming game. So this is our homecoming game. This is our shoes game. This is a big deal. So getting guys up for it or motivated, we don't have to worry about that. That's something that really takes care of itself. And the way that we look at it is that this is week 1. This is week 1, round 1 of the playoffs for us, because nothing's guaranteed. We don't know our first round opponent. We don't know if we're at home. We don't know if we're on the road. So this is week 1. So every game from here on out is a playoff game.
Yeah, that's a good way to approach it. And speaking of the playoffs, Coach, a lot of what we've talked about with other coaches this season is the importance of depth to make those long runs. It seems like your team has stayed relatively healthy so far. I know that there's a couple players who didn't play in the St. Lawrence game that are probably dinged up with injuries. It just comes with the territory. But you also have built up a very solid roster. You've gotten a lot of reps over the years. How are you feeling about kind of the overall just sort of health of your team here coming into week 11?
Well, you always want to have your team, peaking at the end of the season. You want them to be, playing their best football at the end of the season. You're also hoping that you can get some guys back from injury. And I guess the appearance that we are healthy or have been healthy, I think that speaks well to the guys who have stepped up and have moved into some starting roles for us this past year. We're fortunate to have 27 seniors on our roster, which is the largest senior class here in RPI history. But a lot of those guys were not starters that moved into a starting role here as the season has progressed. So it's we've had seniors step up, juniors, sophomores. We even had freshmen. One of our leading receivers last game was a freshman slot receiver for us as well. So that's one of the things that we've been very conscious of over the years is building the roster, making sure that we're playing a lot of guys, getting a lot of guys playing time, so that if they have to move into a starting role, it's not their first time stepping on the field. So. Yeah, that wasn't the case back in 2013 when we took over. That was, we had 10 seniors. We had a lot of young guys that were playing, and depth was a major issue. One of the things that we've been able to do the last number of years is not only on offense and defense to be playing a lot of guys, but our special team unit has really become its own. It's truly a third phase, but that's where we get a lot of those backups on and get them into the game. So it's that's something that we've been very fortunate to be able to do the last 3 seasons.
Coach, we kind of got into discussion on Twitter, which is always a dangerous thing. Yesterday, especially, I won't name names of coaches and schools and whatnot, but we were talking about the importance of recruiting in general. That it's important to go out and coach the games really well, but recruiting is probably a big percentage of the balance at the end of the day. You came in and turned around a program with, admittedly, somebody else's recruits the first year or two, and then began kind of taking this team, completely as your team. You are now, as you were pointing out to us in our pre-discussion, the longest tenured Liberty League head coach right now at 6 seasons, which kind of blew our minds because we didn't really think about that. But you're right, completely correct. Ithaca has Swanstrom just in, DeWall just came in, Pacaber is only a few years in, I believe now. Behrman, 3 seasons. Martinovich, so there they are. So. Yep. So add them all together, you almost don't make 6 at this point. It's kind of funny, But how much pride do you take in the fact that this is your team? You oversaw the recruiting of this entire team. And how has recruiting gone for you? And tell folks what the importance of having a great recruiting base means to the success of a team like yours.
Yeah, and I think, I appreciate you saying that it's my team, but, at the end of the day, we talk about this as our program and our team. So it's not only the coaching staff, but it's also the players, it's the administrators. Everyone's, on the same page with what we're trying to do with bringing in the right people. And recruiting it's a 12-month out of the year, job for us. So you're not only doing it out of season, but you're also doing it in season as well, and bringing guys to your home games, and then also getting a chance to see them, when they're playing their games. But we start out with in section 2 right here, right in our own backyard, and we want to make sure that we get all of the best talent and the guys that have the best grades, get them here to RPI and playing for us. And we've got a number of those guys that have made significant contributions for us on the field. George and Sean Egan, those are 2 guys there, but we've had other guys in the past as well. So we start there, and then we kind of branch out, into the region, and then also nationally. RPI is a national brand. We've got some of the best academics in all of the world. So kids are going to be, looking here to further their education, get a great engineering degree, business degree, get into a field that that excites them, and then also have the opportunity to get a well-paying job when they graduate. So we happen to feel that we've got the best combination of world-class academics and national caliber football. Of pretty much any school in the country, because when you look at all of those top-notch academic schools, we're right there among them in the the U.S. News and World Report rankings and all of that stuff. Our kids are getting jobs that in the $83,000 to $85,000, $86,000 first year coming out of college, which blows my mind and really makes me rethink my career choices. So guys, if we can help them get to that level, then that's our job as coaches. And oh, by the way, hey, let's win some games, win some championships, and help them become better people. So the recruiting part of it is something that we take to heart. It's like I said, it's almost never ending. After you get your recruiting class in, you're back onto the juniors and the guys that you're looking at for the next year. Certainly it has its challenges because you're looking at kids with some of the best academics in the country, guys with great GPAs and SAT scores and oh, by the way, all those other great academic schools, they're trying to recruit them too. So if we can get a couple of kids that might be, Ivy caliber kids that might fall off their board, or maybe they don't get offered, that, we can get a couple of those kids in, maybe 3, 4, 5 a year. You're looking at about 20 of those guys that, could have been playing in Division I. Certainly that's the goal. Doesn't always happen like that. But if you can get great kids that are motivated and fit into our culture, then you're going to have some really special recruiting classes.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like from your roster, Coach, there's some great versatile athletes, because I think the first touchdown you guys scored yesterday was by Tommy Avery, a wide receiver, as a senior. But I remember when he was your starting quarterback just a few seasons ago. So, you're making some changes, moving things around. This Connor Davies has really had some amazing plays for you, kind of out of almost like a wildcat, shotgun formation. So it looks like you're getting contributions from all different types of student athletes. But speaking of recruiting, that guy down the street, Jeff Behrman's pretty good, and he's got this Iribor and Ross Jr., a couple of pretty explosive weapons on offense. I know that you're just transitioning kind of off of a victory here, but and going into a big game week. So kind of walk us through what's in store for the Engineers as you guys get ready to host the Dutchman Shoes game this Saturday.
Yeah, what's neat is that once you get into the conference, the league part of the schedule, is that you get crossover games and you get a chance to see other teams that you're going to be playing against and seeing what they're doing and how they're utilizing their personnel, not only on offense and defense, but also what they're doing on special teams. So, these guys have been on our radar for quite some time. That they are dynamic running the ball and also throwing the ball, and their quarterback has really. He's been a difference maker as well. The offensive line, which were a lot of young guys last year, have really grown up and matured. And Coach Behrman and Coach Dragonis, they've done a heck of a job there on the offensive side. Defensively, I believe they've got 8 or 9 starters back on defense. A lot of experience there. The Riley kid, he's as advertised. He comes off the edge and they're among the sack leaders and tackles for a loss, and they don't give up yards very easily. Everything that you get against them, you're going to have to earn. So whether it's run the ball or throw the ball, we've got to be able to block on the perimeter. Our guys need to be able to pick up twist and blitz. And our receiver is going to have to get it open, versus a very stingy defense. So when you take a look at it on paper, and I know the game's not played on paper, but you're looking at the scoring, the scoring totals, the yards given up, the points given up. It's very even with the two teams. So it's no secret why both teams have been successful this year.
So they've won 5 in a row, has RPI, in the Dutchman Shoes game. No streak has gone that long since Union had 6 in a row in 81-86, if I remember correctly. And that was the beginning of the real, let's say, Garnet Wave defense phase of Union back when they went to the Stag Bowl in 83 and then later on in 89 as well. So you're in some rarefied air territory right now if you're able to win the 6th one. Keep that in mind. But, Coach, there's a problem, a small problem, and we'll put it on the screen right now. We lined up a poll question on Saturday night that basically said, what game should I go to this weekend? Now, I do have to be in New York City on Friday, and I would have willingly driven back up and then back down to ref again on Saturday night if Dutchman Shoes was to win this poll. Unfortunately, right now, Secretary's Cup, unfortunately for Union and RPI folks, of course, it's 42% for Secretary's Cup, 32% for Cortica, 12% for the Dutchman Shoes game. This is as of Monday around noontime. We're recording this. Yeah, Coach, what's going on here?
I don't know. Maybe people just don't want you here. I'm not sure about that. Maybe they've taken a look at all the chatter on the D3Football.com and said, you know what, maybe
it's an RPI home game.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Coach Toop is feeding the ballots and everything. Maybe they found some way to stock the ballot box there. But I think all four of those games, I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, you've got rivalry weekend, big trophies on the line, games that always come down to the wire, and like I said, you can't go wrong with any of those games that you're going to take a look at.
Well, I do want to get back to Dutchman Shoes game at some point, of course, but you're right. All four of them. I've never been to Cortica. I've been to Secretary's Cup once, but only briefly, and I couldn't stay for it. It was when Mikey Weinstein, his parents had come by to see the team, and I got there for the pregame, but couldn't actually stay for the game. I have not seen Springfield at MIT. I've actually never watched MIT live, I don't think. And the funny thing is, I went to law school in Cambridge, Mass, so right down the street from them, but never watched them play. So some really interesting options there. But Coach, we're going to wish you luck here. We joked at the beginning of this thing that you always tell us you must be doing something right, and you are. You've been doing it right for 6 seasons as the head coach there, and it's an incredible job. I think the memory of people in college football is short because it's only 4 years for the students there. But we have to remind people, when you came in, there was upheaval going on in the head coaching ranks at RPI, no doubt. And you, with a very steady hand, turned that thing into your animal. You can call it everybody's responsibility at the end of the day. And you're right, I get it. But you were the helmsman for it, and you turned it around, and you did a tremendous job. Another Liberty League title, another playoff situation for you. We don't know who you're going to play, like you said. We'll find out Sunday with you. But congratulations, and keep up the great work.
I appreciate it, and we've got a saying right here on the back of the wall right there, and it's nice that people can acknowledge that. But it's success always looks easy to those who weren't around when it was being earned. So that's that's something that we take to heart, and that this wasn't built in a day. And there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of people to really thank, not only the current coaching staff, but the coaches that were here before and have moved on to greener pastures and to promotions and coordinator and head coaching jobs. So but it really comes down to the guys that we have a chance to work with and coach and be around every single day. We treat them like our sons, and my son is one of those guys now. So it's that's a special experience for me as well. But it's about the people, and hopefully we're doing things the right way.
Looks like you are. Thanks again, Coach, for all your time and everything you do for us.
All right, thank you.